Somewhere out there, there's a candidate for VP who proudly wrote, led cross-functional, high-performing teams. Reality? He supervised one part-time office clerk named Brenda. And let's be real, Brenda trained him. This isn't rare. Titles get inflated. Maybe you oversaw a department when you just had the keys to the supply closet. Or you optimized operational workflows, which meant printing fewer copies. Lying isn't just unethical, it's impractical. You're basically setting a trap for future you. And future you is going to sweat bullets when it's time to deliver on something you exaggerated, especially if it's something core to the role, like leading strategy or managing budgets, not just formatting slides. Remember, companies don't just hire skills, they hire character. They hire people they believe will show up, solve problems, work well with others, grow, and they should be able to trust. Lying on a resume can raise red flags quickly, especially when potential employers compare it to your interview answers and verifiable information. Plus, in today's world, almost everything's verifiable. Job titles, dates, degrees, certifications, and reasons for departure. One quick reference check and poof, your director of strategy turns out to be a part-time project coordinator with great Wi-Fi. Now, here's where some smart candidates trip up. They're so committed to being real that they overshare. Like deeply, emotionally, spiritually. They ask, why did you leave your last job? And you say, well, my boss was toxic, my cat died, and honestly, I started questioning capitalism. This video is about that tricky gray zone between too much honesty and not enough. We'll cover resume honesty, interview red flags, ethical storytelling, and how to frame even the awkward stuff. Professionally, truthfully, and without giving your interviewer an existential crisis. By the end, you'll walk away with 5 rules to tell the truth, frame it smartly, and stand out without faking it or panic texting your mentor from the break room. Let's get into it. The resume lie that spirals. Let's say you lie on your resume, just a little. You boost your title, stretch your dates, sprinkle in some keywords. What could go wrong? A lot, actually. Maybe you say you're fluent in French. At the end of the interview, they ask, "Parlez-vous français?" Awkward silence ensues. They start wondering what else you lied about. HR and hiring managers, they notice things, especially when a resume seems tailor-made to match a job posting. It's not about having smaller roles before big ones. That's perfectly natural. It's about pretending those roles never happened, or rewriting your experience to mirror a job title you haven't actually held. When someone jumps from graduate to director with no clear progression, it raises questions. A good resume should reflect how you got where you are, not just where you want to be. Instead of chasing titles, focus on demonstrating your skills, capabilities, and results that qualify you for that next step. But here's the real danger. Even if the lie works and you land the job, you now have to deliver. I had a real case. Someone landed a job with an amazing salary. She was thrilled, but she was calling me sometimes twice a day asking, how do I write this proposal? How do I do this analysis? She wasn't ready. She left the position less than a year later. You don't want to build a career that gives you imposter syndrome with evidence. You want a role you can actually own and can perform beautifully in. Good performance adds to your confidence. Now let's talk about another trap. Oversharing. Oversharing kills professionalism. There's a difference between being honest and being unfiltered. Interviews aren't therapy, they're auditions. So here's a rule. If it doesn't directly affect your ability to do the job, keep it off stage. Let's get into 3 examples with overshare, lie, and balanced versions. First scenario, health issues. Overshare. I had a breakdown and couldn't function for months. Lie, no gap. I was freelancing for a client that doesn't exist. Balanced. I had a short-term health issue that I took time to manage. I'm now fully recovered and excited to return to a full-time role with energy and clarity. Always check your local employment regulations before discussing health matters. If your answers are truthful and you can perform the job and it doesn't present a health and safety issue, you may not be required to share certain personal information. Depending on your location, specific disclosures are protected or restricted by law. Second scenario, left on bad terms. Overshare. My manager was insecure and sabotaged me. I have receipts. Lie. We parted on great terms. Balanced. We had different expectations around leadership and direction. I made the decision to step away and focus on roles that are more in sync with how I work and contribute best. Third scenario, employment gaps. Overshare. I burned out. I quit. I watched 180 consecutive hours of Bosch. Lie. I was consulting. No proof, no clients. Balanced frame. I took time off intentionally to reset, reflect, and upskill. During that time, I focused on personal growth and professional development to re-enter stronger. Here's where people get confused. Just because you're allowed to keep things private doesn't mean hiding everything is okay. If a job requires you to lift 50 pounds regularly and you've got a serious back injury, not disclosing that is a risk and it's misleading. What to do instead of lying and why people struggle. All right, now let's shift gears. This is the part most people don't talk about. Why some choose to lie on their resume in the first place? A lot of us don't know how to talk about ourselves. We think, I was just doing my job. But those tasks hold more than you realize. Accomplishments, growth, and real wins. That's often why some people embellish, not out of bad intent, but because they haven't learned how to find some of the nuggets in their seemingly ordinary experience. Here's what you might consider instead. 1. Reflect deeply on your work. Pull out your old job descriptions. For each role, ask, what did I improve? What problems did I solve? What did people rely on me for? Even handling a chaotic inbox or building a team process can be huge. Don't underestimate the small wins with big impact. 2. Separate responsibilities from achievements on your CV. Customer service rep is a job. Handled 150 plus tickets a day with 97% satisfaction is an achievement. If you need help, sit with a colleague and ask, where did I shine? Even if you were terminated, it doesn't mean you weren't good at your job. 3. Take on new projects where you are if you can. If your role feels basic, create standout moments. Volunteer for something challenging. Lead a mini project. Shadow another team. Build the story now for your next role and interview. 4. Upskill instead of faking it. If you don't have the skill, earn it. Use online platforms, side projects, or internal training. If you want to stop worrying about lying, just upskill. It's better to say, I just finished training in this, than to fake it. 5. Know that even AI can't help without substance. If you feed AI vague input for your CV, you'll only get vague output. If you don't know your accomplishments and wins, it can't write it for you. 6. Practice framing your story. Don't wing it. Don't write a resume and hope you remember it. Practice your story. Say it out loud. Don't improvise under pressure. Rehearse with a friend, a mirror, or your dog. Just practice framing your work like it matters, because it does. 5 rules to frame it like a pro. Let's land this with 5 framing rules moving forward. Number 1, truth first. Don't fake anything that can be verified. Dates, degrees, titles, or job history. Number 2, frame smart. Professional tone. Context, not confession. You're telling a story, not bearing your soul. Number 3, relevance rules. Share examples of relevant experience. Preparing examples for job interviews is very useful. Number 4, use gaps to show growth. What did you learn? What did you build? Even time off can become a powerful story. And 5, practice, don't panic. Don't improvise in high-stakes moments. Rehearse your answers to tough questions ahead of time. At the end of the day, it's not about being perfect, it's about being prepared. Our final message: you don't need to lie, you don't need to overshare. You just need to learn how to frame the truth in a way that reflects your progress, your learning, your maturity, and the value you bring to an organization. Disagreeing with a boss isn't a red flag, trashing them is. Getting terminated isn't the end of the road. It's the start of a new chapter. And honestly, would you really want to work for a company that doesn't understand real-life circumstances, or the fact that most careers aren't perfectly linear? So here's your power move. Get clear on your value. Ask others. Reflect. Build. Speak with strength. Tell your story, the real one, like it deserves to be told. Be proud of your career journey. If this hit home, like subscribe and share it with someone rewriting their resume for the 9th time. And hey, if Brenda trained you, just credit her properly next time. Kidding. Kind of. And remember, you've probably done more than you give yourself credit for. I say this from experience. So many people struggle to talk about their accomplishments or see why what they've done matters. But just because you don't think it's something special doesn't mean it isn't. Own it. You've got this. Just tell it right. Confidence doesn't come from a perfect CV. It comes from owning the one you've actually lived.